But should the courts be wary? Do you think that there's a moment where the president, the administration might say this has gone too far? I think
the courts will be very wary. What did Andrew Jackson say? You can make a ruling, go ahead and enforce it. I think the court. You have to rein in the courts. They've been too radical. This is a judicial insurrection. I strongly believe that this is going to be a learning exercise, and what we're trying to do is go back and try to, more and more in the coming weeks, is make sure our audience understands this goes back, or really goes back to FDR and the packing of the court. But specifically, it goes back very much to Watergate and the judicial insurrection you had in Watergate in the same court, in this D.C. court that's out of control with Sirica, okay? That's the railhead of all this, and people have to understand this showdown, which if you just had country club Republicans would have never come, Bill Barr and that crowd, but the Bush, all that crowd, and they talk about Cheney and all that. This is actually a fight that had to happen. This had to happen between the courts and the executive branch, okay? It's happened because Trump and people around him understand the Constitution, understand what we have to do to get back to a constitutional republic, to take on the administrative state and take on the deep state. Cheney and those guys, it was totally different. It was there just to self-aggrandized power, and quite frankly, I think hide a lot of abuses on the Iraq war that I was against, right? So this is a real showdown, and this is for the highest stakes, and this is from both sides are going to give as good as they get. The opposition of this is you're bringing your best. I mean, you've got the best lawyers, you have the best thinkers on your side, and they understand what the stakes are. They particularly understand what the stakes are of cutting off government funding to the NGOs. They understand how much of this has been on the public trough. They also understand as we go off against things like Act Blue, the mechanics of how actually this stuff is funded away from the government on the foreign billionaires. So we're going after the infrastructure and the plumbing and the wiring of the whole system of the radical left. So the stakes couldn't be higher, and they know that. That's why this is. That's why this is such an important fight. And I keep saying, one side's going to win and one side's going to lose. There's no ground for compromise. You can't compromise with our oppositions. They're not going to compromise with us. They don't believe in anything that we stand for. They think that all they talk about is autocratic breakthrough. This is the moment of autocratic breakthrough. This is the moment when Donald Trump becomes dictator. What he's trying to do is trying to get back to what the Constitution says and make sure that we're not a dictatorship, because we have been a dictatorship. As you can see by how the Justice Department was weaponized against people and tried to send Trump to prison for 300 years, which they still want to do, and sent guys like Peter Navarro and myself to prison, right, for discussions on checks and balances. So no, these are the highest stakes, and this is going to be fought down to the bitter end. And I can tell people right now, we are not going to quit. We're not going to surrender. We're not going to take our foot off the gas pedal. It's all gas, no brake.
Explain that, because that criticism of autocracy and the thing that